to my mom shaking my shoulders. I woke to her screaming, "Casey, wake up. Why are you on the floor, Casey?" I woke to her question, "Casey, why is the thermostat set to 92 degrees? And when I woke up, it all came back. The running up the stairs, the cold, the setting the thermostat to its highest temperature, the falling, "Mom, I was just really cold." And my mom replied, "Well, Casey, we both know why you were so cold." I had been over-exercising and under-eating. My body lost the insulation and energy it needed to keep itself properly warm, and my 16-year-old self had blacked out because my body finally lacked the strength to keep itself upright. Not to say I hadn't been suspected before. My friends asked me at lunch why I was eating so little until one day I just decided it would be easier to hide in the bathroom stall. And my brother, he was questioned as to whether I was recently diagnosed with AIDS or cancer. But when I woke up on the floor, I knew I had been caught in the act. And my parents, they sent me to the jury of psychologists and physicians who handed me my verdict, anorexia nervosa. But the indictment did very little for me. In the hallways, girls would enviously squeal, "You are so thin. What's your secret?" Guys, they gave me more attention than ever, and with all of that praise, I gleefully watched as the numbers on the scale went consistently down. And my success, it created this euphoria. And my eating disorder, it was able to convince me waking up in the middle of the night to exercise is good. Convinced me resisting that stick of sugar-free gum that adds 2.5 calories to your daily intake is commendable. Convinced me the bruises you wake up with on your hip bones after sleeping against that hard mattress at night are badges of honor. Convinced me the lying, fatigue, isolation, soreness, pain will all be worth it. And when I escaped to Middlebury for college, I had created a life revolved around my eating disorder without anyone to stop me, except myself. We're at this senior dance thesis concert in which milk crates represent the expectations of society to which the dancers felt they had to conform. And during the performance, I realized that for over 3 years, I had been trapped within my own milk crate. After the 5 minutes it took to walk from this building to my dorm room in Hepburn, I called my mom. This time I was shaking her from the floor. "Mom, I want to go into rehabilitation." And 2 weeks later, I had left Middlebury and entered a new higher institution of learning. The intensive outpatient program that I was assigned to involved 8 hours of group therapy a day, nutrition sessions once a week, and individual therapy twice a week. And this process of recovery, it takes you, a person who has created an entire life, a person who has developed a way to cope with this world. Recovery tells you that everything you know is wrong. So recovery challenges you to create an entirely new life. And recovery isn't nice enough to give you the materials you need in order to perform this monumental task. And recovery doesn't nicely lay out a structure for you on which to build your new life. Recovery just challenges you to recreate your entire existence, or else. And at first, I was challenging nothing within the eating disorder that was the foundation for my life. I would drink gallons of water before every weigh-in in order to fake weight gain. I scoured nutritional labels in order to find what could meet my meal plan while giving me the fewest amount of calories. I would moan in every single group therapy session about how I was getting out of this place the first chance I got, until a 50-year-old shell of a woman, she was swaddled in these jackets and sweatpants to protect herself from the cold of the room and the stares of these girls. She peered at me and croaked, "You do not want to have to be as old as me and come back here." I'm looking at her fear, and I knew I was becoming her. But in that exact same moment, I swear I resolved not to be. And the actions I began to undertake were not easy, and the questions I began to ask myself were not simple. But at least I began to learn that I did not have to punish myself for my perceived worthlessness, to learn that my voice could be loving despite the number on that scale or the size of my jeans, to learn that my life, it was more than this external shell that needed to be painfully manipulated. And after 6 months of rehabilitation, I woke up. But my process reveals an injustice. What does my being caught in the act say about us? What does it say about us that over 1/3 of girls of a normal weight believe that they are overweight? What does it say about us that 80% of girls believe that being thinner would make them more popular, happier, and more successful? What does it say about us that over half of high school girls have tried to lose weight through fasting, diet pills, smoking, or vomiting? Let's ask the media. In 1995, American media was introduced to the country of Fiji. And in that same year, only 3% of girls reported using vomiting as a way to control their weight, and only 15% scored highly on an eating disorder risk exam. In 1998, just 3 years after the introduction of American media to the country, 13% of girls reported using vomiting as a way to control their weight, and 29% scored highly on an eating disorder risk exam. In fact, girls who watched American television 3 or more times a week were 50% more likely to describe themselves as too big or fat. I want you to think of a magazine cover, an advertisement, a television show. That edition of Self magazine with some perfectly sculpted woman exposing everything that is legal, with advertisements on how to lose weight or how to get a body just like hers. That advertisement with some envied girl holding the product that will give you everything that she has. That television show with some female character wearing the skin-tight outfit that perfectly exposes her protruding collarbone and her cinched-in waist. These images that we have accepted as reality are sending the implicit message to girls that they have to look like these artificial women in order to gain our society's acceptance. The acceptance of a society in which every 1 point increase in a young woman's body mass index leads to a 6-point decrease in the likelihood of her being in a romantic relationship. In a society where the diets girls are told to follow are calorically equivalent to those of World War II prisoners. A society in which 40% of 9 to 10-year-old girls are trying to lose weight. Some girls will sacrifice everything to gain our society's acceptance. And as their bodies and their minds fail them, they will cling to their anorexia nervosa, because being on the floor with nothing, it's worth that success. Thanks to the cruel standards of our society, 20% of those with anorexia nervosa will starve themselves to death. The deadliest mental illness starts with your cousin, your niece, your neighbor, your student, your friend, your sister, your daughter, looking at our society and believing its ideals. So we need to change our culture. We need to start talking about our food as tasty, as nourishing, as energy, because that is what it is. And we need to refer to our bodies only as amazing masterpieces. And when we hear negative body talk, we need to ask, so what? I guarantee the answer to that question has no consequence on your kindness, on your intelligence, on your spirit. And we need to start these conversations in the classroom. Get rid of the health courses that are forcing adolescents to weigh themselves or record their food in a calorie log. Have high school girls participate in the amazing body positivity programming available. Create groups on campuses that foster positive body image and healthy conversations. Together, we show our girls, your girls, their value is not their body. So society, I'm accusing you of perpetuating an unjust principle and forcing girls to punish themselves in order to achieve it. Because this girl, she met all of your standards. She was so hungry at night, she could not sleep. She was so bony, her legs lost feeling after sitting against a chair. She was so self-conscious, she had to run out of class to check in the mirror if her stomach had grown in the past few minutes. And she was so guilty. After eating, she was lost in this torrent of self-bashing until she was cradled by the comfortable lullaby of starvation. She was so distraught. Over her own perceived inadequacy, she contemplated taking her life more than once. But society, you praised her and you envied her success, and you told her she was beautiful, and you told her that was all that mattered, even though you made her suffer in ways no human should. But this girl, she is 30 pounds heavier. And she's just eaten her first waffle in years. And she's satisfied. And she's confident. And she's healthy. And she is radiant. And she is comfortable. She is not anything that you told her to be. But when she gave up your standards, she found this unbridled joy. I am living proof our society has been caught in the act. And if no one else had to be living proof, then our job would be done. But I can almost say for certain, there's living proof in this room. So until there's no more living proof, wake up. Wake up and confront the cruel standards of our society. Wake up and realize what this injustice is doing to our girls. Wake up and tell your girls they are so much more than what society tells them to be. TED community, wake up. Thank you.